So when I talk to first-time homebuyers, especially younger people, the Gen Z, the big refrain is sticker shock. It's very expensive to get into a home. It's harder to get into a home than it was for their parents. And Seattle is known for not being affordable. Like it's just a challenge across the board. So today we're going to talk about some strategies for what we can do to get you into your property because that's a number one driver of wealth. People who rent have a net worth of about under 10,000. People who buy have a net worth of over 250,000. The difference is not necessarily just how they start out, but having that forced savings account, that equity that grows over time as a homeowner. So let's take a look at some of the steps that we can recommend here. So according to Bankrate, you might qualify for a first-time homebuyer loan or assistance. First-time buyer loans typically have more flexible requirements such as lower down payment and credit score. Many of these help buyers with closing costs and the down payment through grants and low interest loans. I have a client right now who works for a nonprofit by choice. He has a lower income by choice because he wants to be involved in this work. And he has actually been pursuing a lot of different grants and other programs that allow him to get into a property more easily than he otherwise would getting a loan in the private market. So there are some trade-offs with that, but there are programs out there. Don't count yourself out. If you think you can make the payment, don't let the down payment be the thing that stops you. Don't let the credit score be the thing that stops you. Next, you want to make sure that you're looking at condos and townhomes in the more affordable end of the spectrum. Here in Seattle, the median price point for homes is around $700,000 to $800,000. That's a big chunk to bite off your first time out of the gate, and some people absolutely do it. And kudos to them. Typically, two-income families where at least one person is pretty highly compensated. However, for a lot of us, we're going to be looking at starting at a $300,000 condo in Linwood, a $400,000 townhouse, maybe going up to a $500,000 or $600,000 or $700,000 zero lot line townhouse, something that is a little bit smaller, a little more compact, a little bit closer to neighbors. When you get up into those zero lot line townhomes, you don't actually have to pay the homeowners association dues. I know that's a big concern for a lot of people buying condos because not only are they buying the $300,000 condo, they're getting a $400 a month HOA bill on top of that. But those are actually things that as a homeowner, you need to plan for and budget for anyway. The homeowners association is doing the landscaping. They're saving up for the roof. They're going to replace the fencing. So whether or not you get into a condo or a single family home, you need to have some line items for that in your budget. The great thing about condos is at least some portion of those dues is usually going to shared utilities like a dumpster for the garbage, sewer, wastewater, things like that. It may not be as big a bite as you think to have that homeowners association line items spelled out when you're looking at your finances. So if you think you're iced out because you're waiting for that perfect house, that perfect house might be your second home. It may be a better idea to get started on a condo. That's what we did. My husband and I bought a $300,000 condo in Linwood, and we lived there for 10 years. And then we sold it. I think we bought it at pretty much the worst time, like the peak of the market, right? But we sold it after 10 years. We made some money, and we rolled that into our new home, which is bigger and nicer. Hannah Jones at Realtor.com says condos can help prospective homebuyers who perhaps have a smaller budget, but who are really determined to get a foothold in the market and start to accumulate some equity. And it can be a really great entry point. And I think that's important because a lot of times when we're saving money to buy a home, we're saving it at a certain rate, let's say $10,000 a year, but the housing market is appreciating so quickly that we're actually losing ground. We're not getting ahead. We're not getting closer to home ownership. So rather than getting yourself into that situation, take a look at your finances now and take a look at with someone like me or a lender. We can help you learn where is a good point of entry for you to get in and start riding the appreciation train up. Assuming that it goes up, it could always go down, but you want to start riding that train so that it doesn't leave you further and further behind. And last strategy point that we're actually seeing this much more these days is looking into pooling resources to buy a multi-generational home. This could be you, Gen Zers, buying something with your parents or grandparents. It could be doing a house hack and having a roommate. It could be partnering with someone, whether it's your romantic partner or a business partner. Maybe you buy a home together and one or more of you lives in it. But these are some great ways to start participating in the real estate market sooner rather than later so you don't get left behind and left out to dry. And again, money.com has to say here, buying a home with another person has some obvious advantages in the mortgage department. If two incomes in the mix, buyers can likely qualify for a larger mortgage, which is a big help in today's high cost market. And if you wanted to really go down the investing road, we could talk about whether it made more sense to buy a condo that you would live in and maybe one day rent it out when you moved into a bigger home, or even buying something like a duplex or a fourplex where you can get in with a lower down payment, but you have some different options for bringing in additional income. I don't necessarily recommend this in Seattle for a starter strategy because the bigger the home, the lower the cash flow, and you will probably have to do some supplementing of those rents in order to keep the property going. But it's a huge equity play, especially if you can do some forced appreciation by remodeling units, or you have a business-minded partner who can help you out with the cash flow needs for that property. So thanks so much for watching. I'm sure I've answered some questions and raised more. Feel free to shoot me a message if you have any other questions. I'm on most of the socials at homeproassociates.com, or come to my website of the same name, homeproassociates.com. All right, I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you on the next video.